About the total combat losses of Russia in Ukraine from the February 24, 2022 until now, December 3, 2022. So the Ukrainian war is a very important thing in the world policy. For the United States, the United States reaffirms its unwavering support for Ukraine's sovereignty and territorial integrity within its internationally recognized borders, extending to its territorial waters. The US Ukraine relationship serves as a cornerstone for security, democracy, and human rights in Ukraine and in the broader region. Ukraine is an important breadbasket, producing around half of the world's oil. Sunflower oil. According to the USDA, the United States Department of Agriculture, Ukraine accounts for 15% of global trade in corn and 10% of global wheat trade. Ukraine's economy is now projected to contract by 35% this year, although economic activity is scarred by the destruction of productive capacity, damage to agricultural land, and reduced labor supply, as more than 14 million people are estimated to have been displaced. Russia's unjustified and unprovoked war against Ukraine has highly impacted energy and food markets. European Union countries are closely coordinating actions to tackle rising prices and scarcity of supplies. The war in Ukraine has created the fastest displacement crisis in Europe since World War II. The majority of those displaced are women and children, who are always most at risk of exploitation and abuse during crisis. A full-scale nuclear war between the United States and Russia would see global food systems obliterated and over 5 billion people die of hunger. The effects of war include long-term physical and psychological harm to children and adults, as well as reduction in material and human capital. Death as a result of wars is simply the tip of the iceberg. Other consequences besides death are not well documented. This is about the Ukrainian war. And now about the total combat losses of Russia in Ukraine. So, on December 3, Russia losses 9,600 soldiers and officers. 9,600. 2,917 tanks. 5,856 armored personnel carriers, vehicles. 1,906 artillery systems and 395 MLRS. MLRS, it means multiple launching rocket systems, 210 anti-aircraft warfare systems, 280 aircraft, and 263 helicopters, 1,572 war operational tactical level UAV. It means unmanned aircraft, air vehicles. 531 cruise missiles, 16 warships, boats, 4,472 vehicles and fuel tanks, and 163 special equipment. These are the combat losses of Russia in Ukraine from the beginning of this year war, which was from February 24 until now. Now they say there are data about that. So 363,400 people, 400 personnel is Putin's losses in Ukraine in 9 months of this war. Intended for invasion February 24, 2022, was 190,000 personnel. And updated information. Putin's 283 days of war, Russia's losses in war in Ukraine from February 24, 2022 to December 3, 2022. First, military troops killed over 96,600. For one murdered Muscovite or Russian soldier or officer, there are 87 Dagestanis, 275 Buryats, and 350 Kuvans. In Afghanistan, 10 years, Russia or Soviet Union lost 15,000 troops altogether, 15,000 soldiers and officers. The second, wounded. Approximately 271,800 on October 1st, 2022, according to statistics, for one killed, there are from 2 to 5 wounded. The third, prisoners of war, over 1,000 soldiers and officers. The fourth, total losses Putin's allied forces in Ukraine, 90,600 killed, 271,800 wounded, 1,000 prisoners of war, and altogether total is 363,400 officers and soldiers. Over 100% intended for invasion. Putin lost more than 200,000 soldiers. Oppositionist according to a popular journalist in Moscow, Andrei Karaulev, Putin lost more than 200,000 soldiers. Oppositionist Mikhail Khodorkovsky, based on his sources in the Ministry of Finance of the Russian Federation, reports that as of August 26, 2022, more than 361.4 billion rubles have already been paid for the killed Russian soldiers in Ukraine. It means 48,759 soldiers are officially killed. But this is just only for Ministry of Defense of Russian Federation. Without the Russian Guard, without the Russian Wagnerites, without the Russian volunteers, and without the so-called collaborators, also so-called DNR and LNR republics armies, because this DNR, which means Donetskaya Narodная Respublika, which is Donetsk People Republic, and LNR, which is Luganskaya Narodная Respublika, which is Lugansk People Republic. They have their own armies. So what about the losses of these armies? And also the losses of FSB, because they are officers of FSB, a lot of them in Ukraine. The Ministry of Finance of the Russian Federation requests another 271 billion rubles in 2022. And for 2023, requests 724 billion rubles. They allow losses of more than 200,000 people. For what? The fifth, aircraft. I said only 280, and it means 84% of intended for invasion. The sixth is helicopters, 263. It means 100% of intended for invasion. The seventh are tanks, 2,917, which is 100% of intended for invasion. The eighth of these losses armored personal vehicle, 5,886, which is 100% of intended for invasion. The 9, rocket launcher, Grad, 395. 10, air defense system, 210. 11, UCAV drones, 1,572. 12, Navy vessels, 16, which is 21% of intended for invasion. 13, artillery system, 1,906, which is 100% of intended for invasion. 14, military vehicles, 4,472. 15, cruise missiles, 531. 16, special equipment, 163. 17 is the updated list of Russian generals and some senior commanders killed in Ukraine. This is very important. A lot of high officers are killed over there. First, Lieutenant General Yakov Ryazantsev, March 25, 2022, Kherson. Second, Lieutenant General A.N. Mordvichev, March 18, 2022, Kherson. 3. Major General Oleg Michaev, March 15, 2022, Mariupol, Donetsk region. 4. Major General Andrei Kolesnikov, March 11, 2022. 5. Major General Vitaly Petrovich Gerasimov, March 7, 2022, Kharkov region. 6. Major General Andrei Sukhovetsky, February 28, 2022, Mariupol, Donetsk region. 7. Major General Magomed Tushayev, February 26, 2022, Gostomel, Kiev region. 8. Major General Vladislav Yershov, March 2022, dismissed possible suicide. 9. Major General Nikolai Zusko. 10. Major General Vladimir Frolov. 11. Major General Andrei Simonov. 12. Major General Karamat Botashev. 13. Major General Valery Asapov. 14. Major General Roman Kutuzov. 15. Lieutenant General Roman Bernikov. 16. Major General Nasbulin. 17. Major General Oleg Tsokov, wounded. Then Colonel comes. Colonel Vladimir Zhoga, Commander Sparta Battalion. Colonel Denis Kurilov, Commander 200 Separate Motor Rifle Brigade. Colonel Yuri Medvedev, Commander 37th Motor Rifle Brigade. Run over by a Russian tank. Colonel Sergei Sukharev, Commander 331st VDV, which is Воздушно-десантные войска, which is the Allied Airborne Troops of Russia. Colonel Sergei Porokhina, Commander of 12th Engineer Brigade. Colonel Konstantin Zizevsky, commander of 247th Guards Air Assault Regiment. Colonel Andrei Zakharov, commander 6th Tank Regiment, 90th Tank Division. Colonel Alexei Sharov, commander 810th Guard Separate Order of Zhukov Brigade. Colonel Vitaly Slaptsov, commander 83rd Separate Air Brigade. Colonel Alexander Bespalov, commander 59th Tank Guards Tank Regiment. Colonel unknown commander of 503rd Guards Motor Rifle Regiment. This is what we know about that. That colonel was commander of 503rd Guards Motor Rifle Regiment. Colonel Ivan Rishin, Colonel Vladimir Ivanov, Colonel Sergei Postnov, Colonel Denis Kozlov, Colonel Andrei Vasilyev, Colonel Sergei Kens, Colonel Sergei Kuzimov, Colonel Andrei Gorobiets, Colonel Sergei Koval, Colonel Gordeev, Colonel Olga Kachurev, Colonel Nikolai Gorban, Colonel Vasily Kleshchenko, Colonel Vitaly Tsikul, Colonel Alexei Abramchenko, Colonel Boris Totikov, Lieutenant Colonel Dmitry Safronov, commander of 61st Marine Brigade, Lieutenant Colonel Yuri Agarko, commander of 33rd Motorized Rifle Regiment, Lieutenant Colonel Dmitry Dormidontov,